Hi and welcome to another episode. What we've got here is fixing up the Spectrum Plus 2. We're on to now part 4. As we can see, the lettering's a bit scuffed, seen better days. Part of the Z's missing there, a lot of the 2's missing there. The legends on the keys are very faded. The red button, the record button, is actually alright. I don't think I'm going to mess around with that one. But these ones are very faint. So I asked around on different forums, I asked around on Discord channels, I asked around basically, and everyone had their own little ideas on maybe how to do it. But then I saw an episode between RMC and Mark Fix's stuff, collab thing, and they do up an Atari 2600, and well, basically on there's a black ridging, but it's supposed to be orange. And Mark went along and used an acrylic pen, and it matched an orange of what that was supposed to be, and it looked really good. So I thought maybe I'll attack this with the same idea. So to do across the top, I bought these pens. I have no idea if the colours match up exactly the way that they're supposed to match up. So let's finish and see how it looks and let you decide if you want to do the same sort of thing. So inside, let me just get rid of that cardboard box. You end up with a pad which is black, and as you can see I've done a little bit of testing so far. Nice little paper book actually of just black paper, so you can draw on there. And then here's the pens themselves. The pens are 2 to 3 millimeters, and basically with a nib and a pair of tweezers you can pull out the nib and change it round. Now let's try with the silver first, even though I've played around with the red. I'm happy with the red. I'm not too sure it's exactly the same as the red that's on here, but I'm happy enough with it. And the same with the silver. As long as we get a nice silver, what does it really matter? Now, as you can see straight away, the nib is yellow, and because what you're supposed to do is shake it all up and down, make sure the ink is flowing nicely. Tells you all exactly the same thing on the side of the pen anyway. Shake several times, press down until ink flows down, recap pen tightly after use. So let's do that. Hold it down. As you saw, the nib sort of like a yellowy orange, but eventually, this is how long it takes, just so you get an idea. I know it's a little bit boring if you don't want to do it, but there we go, we've got a silver dot already, and now the nib looks silver. It's a nice silver. Now obviously what I'm going to have to do with here is be very gentle. Not gentle maybe, but steady. And cover up so I don't end up with too much bubbling. So I might want to dry the nib off just a little bit. Oh, the silver is definitely silver. Maybe you can't see so well with that bit there, but let's zoom in on this too, so we can have a good look on how much difference it makes. So just 1 second. Okay, so we've zoomed really far in now, and yeah, as you can see around the Z it's looking a lot better than it was. Across the top there on the X, that's actually where the paint's missing, so I'm just going to draw a little bit on the paper again to get the ink flowing, and then I'm going to touch it up like this. I'm trying to make sure that I've not got pools of the ink and I don't accidentally touch where I don't want the ink. You see there's a bit of a scrape there on the S, so we'll follow the S round. Let's see how we go. Right, I think you get the idea. So I'm going to do this too, because this is the one that really looks quite messed up right now. So we can see like the major impact that one has. in real time. So start at the top and work our way around. Obviously, before I've done this, I've already give the case a good clean. You know, use a toothpick to get in between the little bits in the E and the P and everything like that, and because even a toothbrush didn't seem to be knocking the dirt out properly. Maybe I needed a firmer toothbrush. And there we go, that's looking a lot better. Actually zooming in like this for me, because I can see on a camera that actually doing it okay, I think. I say that the biggest thing is trying to not have like a little bulge of ink at the very end when you're finishing. Yeah, see, that's a big difference, isn't it? Let's do the plus now. I've got quite excited about this now. Oh, there's a big difference. In fact, maybe I'll do this all on camera. You can watch along with me. Which then maybe I should have just gone left to right, because that would have, and I'm not resting on any of the other ones now. Right, let's go back to the P. E. A bit more on top of the P there. There we go. A bit more on the edge of the E, because part of the problem is that of course some of the plastic's actually missing because of the deep scratches it seems to have. Not only was the original ink knocked off, but you know, there's a good bit of plastic actually scraped away. There we go. Going on the R now. So while I'm doing this, I'll tell you what's going to be part 5 of fixing the Spectrum now, or at least I hope so, is this stereo mod that you can get for the Spectrum. I'm sure plenty of you have heard of it. I sent off for it a few weeks ago. It wasn't actually sent out until a week later than purchasing it, and then it seems to have taken more than a week to actually arrive. It's still not actually arrived yet. So really, if I have to do something else in between doing the Spectrum fixes and something else, then so be it. But there we go. I think that looks a lot better than it originally was. Maybe a little bit more there on the 2 for that bridge there. A little bit more on the end. I realise you've got reflections and everything else of where it is here. I'm just trying to go by, does it look okay with my aging eyesight? And quite frankly, it does. It looks a lot better than what it did with all the scuffs and everything. You can see here at the top here where it's had things flung on top of it, and you know, it's dented up the plastic. And even on the S, you can see that a bit of the S plastic is actually missing. But we don't have anything of the creamy plastic that was there before shining on through. So let's call that a day with that and let that dry off. And then let's move across to the 128K. And as you can see, I've already filled in the 8 and the K to see the comparisons. Now there is a difference. You can see that there's a visible difference in between the 128K that's there, but this is actually a lot brighter. Well, not a lot brighter, but in real life it's kind of what I actually remember as a kid. It's not a dull red, which seems to have, so if I may be completely wrong, but I seem to remember when I was a child that it was a lot brighter, the red, and over the years the redness has come down. I mean, that's quite a nice colour of red there actually, and I think for anybody who's comparing, yes, I know you can be extremely detailed about it, and by all means be so. I'm not knocking people who want the exact same thing, but going by what we have here, trying to find space to put this on, is I want it that it's red and I don't have like grey shining through like there and on the end of the R here and the other I and the L and so on. So I'm going to fill it in anyway, and if someone wants to jump up and down that I'm using the incorrect red, then by all means point me to the correct red and I'll happily recolor it in. But this red is a bright red, or brighter red than what is actually there right now to my eye. And the lighting in here is quite well. I realise the camera is maybe not picking up everything so perfectly because, you know, I've not got HDR going or anything like that. But I'm happy with this red, especially when I can fill in the gaps of that's there. Let it focus for a moment. Put my hand out of the way. There we go. Definitely it's a lot more of a vivid red. But I'm happy with it. And who knows, maybe when it dries a little bit, because I'm going to leave this to dry for the next 24 hours, so you know there is no smudging accidentally happening. It should have been like, quite frankly, I think this is the red that was there once upon a time. We're a lot closer to it because I do feel that this red that's on here, like a lot of Spectrum Plus 2s of its age, the red's actually faded a little bit. Not lots maybe, but you know, if anyone knows Sir Clive Sinclair directly and check with him what he thinks, then by all means do that too. I don't really think it's going to happen, but you never know. A lot of people out there know a lot of famous people. Obviously some people out there are actually related to said people. But for me right now, this is definitely pepped up this Sinclair with its scuffed up bits of plastic. The paint's been knocked off entirely. Let's push that down there a bit. Stay in focus. There we go. I have to say actually, in person, I'm very happy with that red actually. Maybe a little bit more bits of touch up here and there, which I can do off camera, but that's that for now. So make sure the lid is back on tightly as it says. Let's zoom out. I know I said I was going to leave it, but yeah, actually that's a nice red. It is a nice red. It's within matching of what you would think of Sinclair sticking out, in my own personal opinion. If you definitely know what the hue, or you know, what are the YMCK colours, that's what I'm trying to think of. If you can tell me what that is in a particular pen, then I'll repaint it. But let's go back to the story of the Legends. Now obviously on the Plus 2A, Plus 2B, they're across the top here and they don't fade anywhere near as much, and the shapes of the Legends are actually a little bit different. But the ones on here luckily are pretty much straight lines, Now I realise that red is not that red now, so I may risk drawing a circle. I might just leave it, but these legends are faded. Now what my idea was with this is use this. My idea is that I cut it out and make strips. If I can get into the thing in the first place, dear me. How did I get into these things? There we go. Right. So basically it's masking tape, painter's tape, whatever you want to particularly call it, but it's supposed to be very, very good. This particular frog stuff. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. It's just, what I don't want to do is to try to draw on these legends all by myself, because I know I couldn't do a perfect straight line. So what I'm going to do is mess around, cutting out bits of tape, laying it across the said key, and then using the white pen to do that. So you don't need to see me cutting bits of tape out just to line it up, but I'll come back when there's, well, you'll see lots of bits of green tape all over the place, trying to mask off of where I don't want the paint to go, or the ink to go rather. So back in a moment. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of obvious I've given up on the idea of doing the legends, because using the tape and using the white ink pen, it basically just ends up looking like you're trying to use correction fluid, and even then after you've had a fair few whiskies. So I would recommend it for patching up the text across the top, but I wouldn't recommend it for the legends. I'm gonna go back and have a look at what other people did recommend to me for ideas of doing these, but again, I may well just leave them because you can tell what it says, and it's not as if I'm going to be able to make it look the way that it would be. So I think maybe the easiest thing to do is to look for a broken +2 that someone's willing to, you know, throw away for £5 or something like that, and drag the keys off of that one and stick him on here. There is going to be another part of fixing the +2. It's not really, the next one will not be fixing it, it will be enhancing it, stroke modding it. I'm still waiting for that to be delivered. For now though, I really do hope you go have a look in the description down below and check out the Discord and the Patreon links. You know, come have a chat, back me if you so wish. Also, I'd like it if you press the subscribe button and the notification bell, so you can make sure you see the next lot of episodes that I bring out. Maybe the +2, might not, it depends on the post. But as always, happy gaming.